Right then, here we are. This is session number 3 and our roughly 4.5 to 5 of what I generally thought was going to be a single session 2-hour build. But we are on the home straight. Electronics are in and working. I can see that everything is going to fit. The battery swapping setup kind of works. I'm not going to work anymore on that. If it works as intended, fantastic. If not, it still works in a way that allows me to charge really easily, which was kind of the sub-goal of this, the little bail out in a different direction goal if I need it. So that's all good. I've also been doing some prototyping. I can't remember why. I think I was just bored one night, had an idea, and came and did it. I've worked out a system for the lifting arm, which is this. Now, I took the coating off because I'm an idiot, which makes it really hard to see, but this is a single piece of polycarb that I was able to heat bend into what I think is quite a pleasing shape. So I guess job number 1, I could just throw this on, but A, I'm going to need a second one because I'm building 2 of these robots, and B, that would be terrible content. So I guess it's time to make another. I really wish that I were going through the thought process for this right now, but to be honest, it was quite nice to just come down one night and do a thing because it needed doing rather than because I wanted to film it. And the other nice thing is that I don't have to work out all of the... what's the word I'm looking for? Dimensions, that's the one, because I've already got them. This took less than 10 minutes to make the first time, so let's see if I can overcomplicate the whole thing and make it take longer this time. So my first bend, I wasn't sure if this kind of bend was going to work. You do end up with a little bit of a crease out one side, but I'm fine with that. This isn't... again, aesthetics kind of matter on this project. I want it to look reasonable, but that, it doesn't functionally get in the way of anything. If anything, I quite like that it shows off the process that was used to make it. So, unfortunately, I don't have a nice mark already here. I suppose I'm going off of that gap. I also found that I couldn't do this while wearing gloves, so I do just have to burn myself a little bit. Oh, if this decides not to work now, there we go. Because it's a really small piece, it heats up super fast. I'm basically just waiting for it to start dropping, then I'll whack it down on the wood, just to make sure that I'm keeping things straight and flat, and make the bend that I need. I'm going to try and go for a slightly larger area. There we go. And I'm aiming for about 45 degrees. And I was very intentional about the way I had it up, because I want the crease to be coming up this side, sort of back towards where the serve will be, because I know there's lots of clearance there. How have I done matching that angle? Oh yes, how have I done matching the position? Terribly. Well, that's fine. I can trim that back. Or just use it as is, because it will be fine. Okay. The hard thing is knowing when it's actually set again, because you don't really want to touch it, it's still hot. You don't want to move it around, because you've got the bend that you want. Other nice thing with bending this way is you don't seem to get much, if any, spring back, which is pretty neat. Okay, slightly charred coating, but that will all peel off. That is a good start. Now, unfortunately, like I said, I have slightly misplaced, which means my spatula section isn't going to be quite as long. I wanted this to be nice and long so that the kids could kind of turn in and get under something if they wanted to. Although, the more I think about that, the more stress it's going to put on the connection to the servo, which I'm not going to be able to screw in, because I put the servo in at completely the wrong time and made that impossible for myself. Again, something to try and fix on the next one, I suppose. So, yeah, I'm thinking I need this length to be the same. This is kind of the critical one. So I guess I'm heating up around the top of the F. Matching the angle is going to be the tricky part. Although, again, that angle isn't necessarily perfect. It's just the one that I happen to know fits. Oh, well, my fingers are going to be closer to this than I want them to be. Okay, and then it's like that, kind of. And this is tricky. Now I just have to hold this as still as I can while it sets. I'm trying to keep everything, you know, at the correct 90 degrees that I want. I'm having to do it by feel in my left hand to see whether the top is actually kind of flat or not. Although the last one had a bit of an angle back, which isn't a bad thing. Okay. Not as nice a bend as I got on the original, I'll be honest, but they are looking pretty darn similar. I do think this needs more bend down. I might reheat that quickly and see if I can change it. This is risky. This, I don't know if it's going to make matters worse or not. There we go. If I'm not talking, it's because this is a genuinely tense moment where I need to focus. Great content. I think that's a little more similar. Look at that! Look at that! So apart from the extra length on the back of this and the extra length on the front of this, that is a win. A win that didn't take nearly as long as I thought it might. So I'd better get a glue gun heating up, I suppose. Because the next challenge is getting this mounted to the servo in a way that is going to stay on within fights. Again, these aren't spinner fights. These aren't particularly tough fights at all, but they are fights being driven by children with next to no mechanical sympathy. So I do need to think a little bit about child-proofing. And also the fact that these are just going to have to do lots of fights at once without any real ability to pause for maintenance. So the issue I've created for myself is twofold. I've got this piece here that blocks my access to the servo horn, and this piece here. There is no way I'm getting a screwdriver in there. I could pull this off and redo it. I could try a little cutout to give myself room. I'll try a little cutout first. I don't love the idea, but I'll try that first. So, good old wire snips. Doing this super close to the battery because, you know, safety first. Although I did spend a little while, a few weeks ago now, smashing an old battery with Hello There's Hammer to see how much damage I could do to it, and I did nothing. Now, I know that Hello There's Hammer isn't the gold standard of weapon power. It has given me a little more confidence handling lipos than I maybe had before. Alright, where is the screwdriver? There is the wrong screwdriver. There is the right screwdriver. That's still a heck of an angle to have to try and get in there, but maybe that can work. The other thing I need to do, actually, is power it up first, because I need to make sure the servo horn is sitting at the right angle in the first place. Trim has remained set, that's good to see. Everything still works, beautiful. Oh, and I already have it set perfectly purely by accident. That's good to know. Well then. Do I be brave and screw that in now? Again, this new one needs a bit trimmed off the back. So otherwise it's going to go down into the switch and all of the power distribution for the whole robot, which is not a good situation to put yourself in. Ow! Glue gun is hot. Really hot. Metal part. Bugger. You just go over there where I won't hurt myself on you. Or do I just let it hang out super far? No, that looks horrible. I'm not letting that hang out all the way there. Actually, that's not terrible. So again, the aestheticist in me wants this to almost hit the front, because aesthetically, that is most pleasing to me. But I will get a little more wiring room if I go further forwards. No, I think it needs to come as far back as it can, realistically. So I need to get rid of about that much from here. And I've put my saw away. Beautiful. Wonder if the big wire clippers will do it. Just to save getting another tool out and moving everything around. The big wire clippers. Let's see. I'll take off about that much. Super precise, as always. Done. Boom. Problem solving. The spinnerproof way. Always use the wrong tool for the job. And now I've put that away, I'm going to put this in and realise that I didn't take enough off, aren't I? Oh no, that's pretty sweet. I'm happy with that. If anything, there's a chance I've taken too much off. Ain't that a gas? Right, I'm going to attempt to screw this servo horn in. I don't expect to succeed. But let's face it, when do I? My whole robot building career has basically been built on moderately surprising myself. Also, this can now be turned off. It's easier said than done without the top panel holding that side panel in. The big trouble I was having before was actually just getting this in place in the first place. So I'm hoping a bit of balanceology might do it. Oh dear, this is not... you are not going to be able to see what I'm doing here at all. That is just a necessary evil of trying to get this screw into a place that it should not go. So trim back a little more, give myself the best possible chance. Come on. One of the nice things about foam board is it's a very editable material. You can remove bits easily like this, and you can just put bits back on with hot glue so easily. Right, so that's a start. I'm going to clear the table so I don't break anything. Can get it back on here so that I can press down on it without worrying about the wheels and servos being unhappy. I'm going to attempt to direct this into place with the thinnest nose pliers that I have, because tweezers make me sad. Right, I really don't think I'm going to be able to get... Let's see. It's going in at a very strange angle. I'm hoping it's just going to straighten itself up. So unfortunately, I do need this to go to full depth. I mean, I guess I could drill a hole in the arm, but I'd like to get this to full depth. But there's a chance it's going to kind of erupt out of the side. It's just going into the plastic output gear, and if it erupts out of the side and starts interfering with the case, the servo's not going to work. Might have a shorter screw somewhere if I need it, but... This, by the way, is the kind of mistake we were making in Hello There, and I just never learn. When I say the kind of mistake, I mean pretty much the exact mistake we made in about 3 separate places. Although at least those things weren't hot glued in. Bigger screwdriver might actually help here. It's harder to get access with, but it'll hopefully... Nope, that's worse. That's way worse. What about a smaller screw? Just all the different sizes of screwdriver. Let's try them. A flathead might also be... That's not going. Again, because it's not going through the hole that's actually made for it, it's probably not going to turn with any screwdriver. Let's try a small flathead. I could cut down into here, but I really don't want to. That's going to just be aesthetically bad. See if I can alter the course this is taking with a little push down. Nope, that's not going to happen. Sad times. I could try super gluing the servo horn to this output gear. I don't think super glue would kind of wick its way down into the gearbox, but if it does, that's a very lengthy repair for me. Removing this servo, replacing it, that would be a big pain in the butt. Is that even on far enough to hold this on? Kind of. That is difficult to remove. So with a hole in the lifter arm, I could get it on. I'm just going to give it some extra beans for a minute. Oh, that's got another quarter turn out of it. the way that everything is flexing is very disconcerting. If this were made out of more rigid materials, I guess this whole process would be much easier. Yeah, I'm putting like a big finger dent in the side, which I don't want to do. This is moving around everywhere, but I guess I have no choice. I also need to check that the servo still moves. Yeah, that's good. It's not as flush as it could be. But honestly, under the circumstances, that might have to go down as pretty good. The angle it's going in at, you can see, just isn't right. Give it one last go. I'm getting genuinely sweaty doing this. This is scary work. That's definitely at its limit now. Definitely at its limit. So I was using the new arm, wasn't I? Yeah, new arm. That will need to be a fairly precisely placed hole, which isn't usually my forte. I guess I have a little wiggle room. Ideally, I'd have some way. Well, I probably do have some way to mark this. I'll have a look for it. Ta-da! Head getting in the way. Great content. It looks like about there will do it. It means it's drill time. I'm going to quickly get out a similar screw just to see what size hole I'll need as well. I'm hoping no more than 4mm. Because 4mm is the bit I have easiest access to. It's looking more like a 5. Wonderful. And that means I'm going to realistically want to step it up to a 6 because I'm imprecise. Oh, this was the easy part of the build. Never mind. So, drill bit availability. There is no 6, but there's a 7. Is the 7 straight? That's the question. Yes, it is. Good. Somewhere in the shed, there's one drill bit that's bent, and every time I get a drill bit out, I have to check it's not that one. I don't have any surfaces to get that one, so I'll do it on the floor. Drill. Robot goes away. Lighter can go away because that's done with. Pliers can go away. Wrong screwdriver can go away. Lifting arm is the thing I'm working on. That can't go away. I'm going to centre punch this just for a sense of completeness. Hammer. Hammer. Probably punched all the way through it, to be honest. And now watch this bit not get into that hole. Let's get this in a way that's comfortable for me to drill. Disregarding your view. Oh wow, this is going to leave some thin material. And we're there. Easy as. It's a little low, but that's okay. So I think if anything, I'm going to want this leaning slightly back compared to where the horn will be. That's not a big problem at all. Drill, you live on the floor now because I am a tidy person. Drill bit can go away though, because that's the kind of thing I really like to lose. In we come. Check a fit up. Nice. That works just Oh, I think I should have done that further back, you know. I really think I should have done that further back. Oh well, I might have to rearrange some wires, just make sure that I don't pinch them. It's mostly fine. I could try the other one. No, this will work. It's fine. It's absolutely fine, Ryan. Stop worrying about it. It's all good. Take the covering off. Okay, take the side you weren't trying to take off. That works too, I guess. I've been very careful when it comes to getting sharp edges off of parts. I'm not worrying about the bit I just drilled because that's going to be so far out of reach. All of this has been filed very thoroughly before bending. It's a shame that's a bit of a messy bend, but again, it's all part of the construction process. It's something I'm going to probably talk to the kids about actually as well in terms of the way it's made, so it's fine. All of the glue. Don't know why I put some on a part where there won't be any servo horn, but I did. And I want it done in such a way that it goes down as low as possible. Oh, this is nerve-wracking. Do not like having to get the best bond possible. So I'm just lifting it off the floor because otherwise it was just going to raise this up as high as it could go. I might also need to very gently bend this round this way, you know, because it's kind of sticking out to the side at the moment. Which I can do. I can just put the servo up and get the lighter in sort of away from anything important. That won't be a big deal. Something I learned yesterday while repairing an old project for work was that hot glue takes a lot longer to set than I think it does. So I'm just going to leave that there. The weapon overhanging the front, which is probably where I should have done this in the first place. Just to kind of dry up and... Does hot glue cure? I feel like it doesn't cure, it just sets, doesn't it? Because now, with that on, there are two things I need to think about now. There's a top panel, but there's also anything I need to do in terms of just retaining the wiring. Because I don't want wiring to move around during a fight, and then the servo gets sort of... You know, the servo be unable to come down fully because wiring is in the way. And I can only really think about that. I've only really been able to visualise that properly now that the weapon is on. And I don't think it's going to be a big deal, but I do think I should be working with the wiring further back than I currently have it. I kind of worked it right up to the front. Actually, I think I need a little more clearance than I've given it. Although actually, you know what? I think I'm okay. I am going to have a front wall on here, I've decided, that just goes up to the height of this, which will kind of force everything back 5mm, but I think it's already got that clearance. And obviously that front wall will have a gap in it for this to go through. I have got to find a home for all of this, but I think I'll do that once I've got that front wall, I'm thinking about it. So let's fabricate that front wall. Oh, it's the battery that rattles around disconcertingly. So that is... Call that 10mm. Easy. Easy. I'm going to take this away so it can cure somewhere else. And this is just going to be quick pencil marking straight onto foam board. Nothing fancy. Although I'm going to need that bit of wood back, thinking about it. Oh, I can use the really big bits. Fine. Now, where is my scrappy piece of foam board? I have a scrappy piece of foam board. There it is. It's not the scrappy piece of foam board I was looking for, but it will do. Where's the other scrappy bit of foam board? There it is. Maybe I can work out the scrappy piece just because. Oh yeah, that's plenty wide enough as is. So really simply, it's going to make a 10mm strip off of this end. Shouldn't be challenging at all. Shouldn't be. I'll use the Sharpie since that's out. That's probably going to be a little more reliable than a pencil. So, nice 10mm. Let's go. That. Just basically making measurements in random places, to be honest, and I'll just join them all up. Okay, that looks good enough. They all vaguely line up, which is nice. Boom. Scalpel. Scalpel. There we go, beautiful. If I were being really smart about this and had any coordination, I would try to do a sort of angle across. Do a sort of angle across this to match the angle of what's already coming down. But I don't think I'm going to go to that level of detail on this. I don't think. It's something that needs to be done well, and I won't do it well enough, so it'll end up looking worse than if I hadn't tried. That's my concern. So looking at this and thinking this might actually be able to do my top panel. It's got, nah, maybe not. Okay, I have some fresh foam board for that though. It's amazing how this is a project I care about, but I'm still really not willing to use fresh materials. So, that is now on as solidly as it's going to be on. You know what, I'm going to quickly fire this up and test it before I move on. Because if it's wrong now, it needs fixing now. Okay, so obviously it lifts. I knew it would. And what I'm looking for that you can't really see is that when it comes down, it does just lift the front of the robot off the floor, which is good. Although what I have just realised is that because of the angle this is currently at, my plan, because I can't really get this sharp and really low to the floor, my plan was to actually lift the fronts of the robots up so that it would be easier to get under them. With the position this is currently in, I won't be able to do that, so I might need to give this a sort of bend down so that I can lift this up and it still hit the floor. Ooh, that is a pokier servo than I realised. Oh, it really drags on the floor, although I suppose it is quite a rough surface. Let's see how it is to drive generally. Yeah! That would actually make the grade as a judges segment on Robot Wars. Awesome. On that successful note, go do a quick video restart, because that's the thing I've remembered that I have to do. And I might try lifting a proper robot with it next. That would be fun. Right, proper robot. I guess I can't use a bold one because the top panel doesn't actually stay on. The key issue it's going to have is actually having the sort of speed, power, grip to push under something properly. Yeah, and it just flips itself over. That's kind of what I expected. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Possibly the most effective Antweight weapon I've ever built. Awesome. I'm happy with that. Very happy with that. Let's turn it off. Again, I am going to have to do something about this being a bit that way, but that's such a minor thing. I'm not going to worry about it now. It's not important enough to do on camera, you know? What I'm really saying when I say that is that you're not important enough for me to do it for you. You're nothing to me. Well, I am now flush with success. It's a wonderful thing. So I guess now, I'm literally just going to eyeball the width of these, to be honest. I'm not going to try and get a particularly close sort of match on there. I'll give it the full width of this as clearance and a little more. I suppose I should mark it though. Eyeballing it is one thing, but eyeballing it without marking is another. That goes to there. That a quick cutty cut. Don't even need a ruler for this one. Look at me go. Freehanding it. What a boss. Okay, I'm doing this where you can't see it. Really good job. Probably going to kind of brace it against my belly. So it's the balancing act of getting what I'm doing in, but not the belly. Which, to be honest, is a challenge to keep out at the best of times. For it is significant. Where's the mark I made? There it is. Awesome. Sweet. Progress. Tastes good. I am going to very quickly, just checking there's no wire under it, quickly trim back this tape, because I don't want to be hot gluing down to tape if I can help it. Beautiful. Scalpel lid on, because injuring self. Injure yourself bad. Do not do. I can't remember which side these each were. I guess I'm going to have to do that with this down. So that one there, that one there. It might not be the way around I had it originally, but it's good enough. In fact, I might even do the smaller one this side, knowing that I'm going to try and bend this way. Just as long as the larger one doesn't interfere with anything over here. Nope, all good. What I am noticing is interfering is the bead of glue I've already run along here. So that I'll just try and quickly strip back with a thumbnail. Thought I'd broken off something important for a second there. I'd actually just knocked a bit of foam board flying. This is another mistake I make a lot. Gluing all the way to the end of a join. Forgetting that another piece will join to it. Did that on the thing I was working on yesterday as well. It's very annoying. There's an already chewed up corner of this, so I might just... There we go, just take the corner off. That gets rid of the problem. In case you're wondering what tool I used, it was my mouth. Probably should have put some glue on this side as well, but it's fine. And again, that's fairly neat. Not the neatest thing I've ever made. Oh wait, this was meant to be one of the neatest things I've ever made, wasn't it? Whoops! And let's get some glue on here off camera. Go. Ow. You'd think I'd have stopped using my thumb to kind of mop up squeeze out by now, but that would make me someone who learns. We are very nearly there with this. So I need to quickly work out how I'm going to keep this bit of cable tidy. This is the weapon servo wire, which is, of course, very long and doesn't have as easy a time being wrapped around existing things within the robot. So if I lift this up, give myself access. You have to be careful with this. Unfortunately, foam board builds are just inherently delicate. I wonder if I can just tuck that under... No, that's risky. I don't like that. That is the big risk. Down there would be good. Down there would be very good. It's a question of whether I can positively retain it down there. It's nice that it's just holding itself there, but obviously that can shift around as things are used. What if I just put a lot of tape on? Again, Oh, that's got loads of clearance. You can't really see. Look how much clearance that's got. That's plenty. Love that. Tempted to do a little bit of foam board maybe off of here. Just keeping all that down. I'll do something like that. Just holds it all down. I would need to angle it a bit, but that's very doable. I'll be more aggressive than I think I need. Man, this blade needs replacing. So if I imagine that's on there. Okay, I haven't been as aggressive as I needed to be. Very hard to judge, to be fair. Come on, you blunt thing. That on there could just be the final piece of this puzzle, you know? Bit of glue on the end, bit of glue on the side that goes onto the part that this servo is naively expecting to be screwed onto something with. Ow, hot. There you go. Internal mounting. Ain't it beautiful? Well, it's top panel time, I suppose. Now, I would love to do a single piece top panel that has a channel for the weapon, but I think that is going to be unnecessary complexity for me to deal with. So I would much rather go for 2 individual panels. That does mean that I'm going to need maybe a little shim of some kind on top of the servo. That's some of what I've just cut might be good for that job. Just so I've got something to glue down to on sort of this overhanging side of that top panel. It's supported on 3 sides, but it'd be nice for it to be supported a little extra in the middle. Again, children, lack of mechanical sympathy. I'm just going to be gung-ho and do that, even though I know it could make the gearbox a touch unhappy. I'm using a very minimal amount of glue for this one. In fact, I might even do it that way round so that it's more over the motion potentiometer. Because they're a lot less heat sensitive. Or should I say, thermal expansion sensitive. There we go. Nice. I suppose this could also come up to the full height. It would ruin the serviceability of this screw, but to be honest, it's covered in hot glue anyway, so... in for a penny, in for a pound. What random off-cut can I use for that? This'll do! Go. Looks like it should be enough. Maybe that way. Yeah, that way it's enough. There we go. Just a little extra support for that top panel when it does come on. Right. Better measure up some top panels, I suppose. So the way I'm going to do the top panel is a single piece that is the length of this plus this, which will be scored at this point so it kind of folds. That's the way I did it on the original fill. It worked pretty well. I see no reason to change it, you know. So, measurement time. So that is, oh great, that's not a very round number at all. It's like 43 and 52. So at least that comes out to a round number. So 43 plus 52. Should have been writing this down, right? Should have been writing this down. Bit of paper. I usually have loads of paper around. Bit of old foam board. There we go. So it's 43 and 52, which total is 95. I'd already done that in my head, but it seemed nice to just write that down. So that's not quite nice enough, and probably not quite long enough as well. Okay, it's significantly long enough. Maybe. Now see, I can't use the coated side because it's got some damage to it. I'll get the fresh bit out. It's fine. It's for the children, Ryan. Why are you trying to cheat out with the children? I could even go as far as quickly... You know, I'll square paper this. I think that's the approach that's going to get me the best result. Therefore, it is the approach I should use. I think I'm becoming too attached to seeing this finished, and I'm rushing the final stages. I've been critical of other robots in the past for doing that. Shouldn't be doing it myself. Not that hypocrisy is usually that far beyond me. That's the quiz marking sheets. Maybe not the best thing to use. You know what? It's fine. I'll use them. Get me a pencil. The pencil's not in there. Where is the pencil? Why am I making you sit through me looking for the pencil? I've got my scissors. They're handy. The pencil! Hooray. So we've got the overall 95. So overall 95. I could overshoot it and just have a bit of overhang, but probably what a sensible person would do, isn't it? And then trim. But again, do I trust my trimming? Not really. Right, so I need to measure 43 of that, which is about there. How wide does it want to be for the... So this is going to be different for both sides, of course, the width. 25 for one side. Go. Quickly close that off. Quickly run the score line across. It doesn't even have to be scored. It could just be the two pieces glued, butted together. It doesn't make a huge amount of difference. I think I'm attached to the idea of doing it more neatly, and the fold is the neater approach. Other side is 30. Can I do that with the paper I have remaining? Not quite. Oh well, we'll come off this way instead. Go. Go. And there we go. Again, just extend that line across. Perfect. Man, I'm going to hydrate quickly. It's very hot in here for some reason. Beautiful. So cut out, stick down, cut out, stick down. And that will be this functionally finished. No, I'll do that with a scalpel later on. Again, there are some tweaks I will probably make in terms of the ground clearance thing especially is quite important to me, which is going to mean some rebending of this part, this lifter. Maybe the other one will be fine. Again, the robots won't be completely identical. They'll be fundamentally the same design, but I think there will be things in the manufacture that make them very slightly different. So I can probably work that one out so that this isn't quite the same issue. The big difference I'm going to have actually with the two is that this one is running on my Devo with a top pin DSM2 receiver, Whereas the other one will be running on my new i6, which I am not getting on with very well at the moment, which will be an end pin 4-channel receiver, which is going to take up not necessarily less space, but certainly different space. So I think some internal layout will change because of that. I imagine I'll probably have the receiver running flat either that way or that way. Don't know whether you can see that. Either like that or like that. And the wire routing will be quite different, so I'll have to think about that. It might be that with that one I do actually do a bit of wire shortening just to make my life a bit easier. Especially since I won't be filming that one. I think I'll have a little more freedom in my heart for that kind of thing. Right, this is the side that has the markings, I suppose. Should really glue down the other side. Try and use the machined edge as much as possible. There we go. And there we go. Wow, my cutting clearly went really well because they're definitely the same length. It's definitely not a step there where they're different. Go me. Oh, I might regret putting these directly together as well, but it is what it is. If I have to do it again, I have to do it again. Right then, moment of truth. This is giving me some quite... This part in particular is giving me the most extreme film prototype flashbacks yet. That was a really fun build. It was also a summer build, thinking about it. I was doing that at my summer work. I moved to a different campus and I basically had this little flat to myself, which was pretty neat. Had a little patio area. So I was sat with doors open at the little table I had. Tools strewn everywhere, constantly losing everything that I had, just like I'm doing now. Kind of hoping that someone would come past and ask what I was doing, because I was living on my own there, and that kind of sucked in a way. I've completely contradicted myself in the course of this conversation, but hey, when don't I? Right, do I do the scores now? I think I do. I want to take the paper off. Oh no! Okay, so here's something I haven't thought out. I'm going to want to take the paper off of this for aesthetics. But now I've scored this side has to be the outside. You know what? I'm going to do it in 2 bits for this one. The other one I'll attempt to score on the opposite side. This one's just 2 pieces now. We're going to have to deal with that. For this one, if I try and transfer the mark over, like so, just hope that I get it straight. Plan is I just want the card on the other side holding, and then I can fill the gap with hot glue. Yeah, that's gone nicely. That's exactly what I want. So that can go on the top of the robot, glued down on each side, and then I'll just fill a little bead of hot glue in there and smooth that out, and that's pretty damn strong. Not that dissimilar to just doing this, but I don't know, it kind of feels right to me, you know. I will peel the paper off, because if I don't, the Pritt stick will be the limiting factor in the strength of the bond I get when I put this on the robot. In the bin. Literally. I've got hiccups now, that's going to really help what I'm doing. There we go. Came off very nicely, that piece. Be a little more careful with this one, because this part is now genuinely quite fragile. Go that way across the score. Good enough, not worried about a couple of little bits, just as long as the vast majority of my bond is going to be actual foam board to foam board. Right then. I think I just described that as the moment of truth. This is the moment of truth. Yeah, that actually all fits together. Awesome. Should maybe have gone a little longer. Also, I think this is for the other side, but, you know, whatever. Sweet. So I'm going to trim this back quickly. Go. And then, for this side at least, I can basically just go for it. Because I'm not worrying about the battery on this side. Have a nice big glob, quick bead along here, a little bit on the polycarb as well. Get that somewhere safe and go for it. Acknowledge that you will get burned and decide to be okay with that fact. There we go. The front's messier than I wanted, I can see that already. I should really have been measuring out the front part to be the same width as this, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I might even do a little paper cover over there, to be honest, because it's all a bit... It's just set enough for me to show you now. It's a bit... Oh, that's actually gone really badly. Okay. That's no good at all. I'm starting to think these two sides might have been very slightly different. Well, let's pull that off then. High standards on this build, remember? And I've not necessarily exemplified that all through, but this is the time for that to come to the fore. Let's see how the other side fits, because the other side is the part that I measured, to be fair. Okay, that goes like that. My first scrapped bit of foam board of the day. Never forget. So that part is the correct size. I'll get that down. Being mindful of the fact that the battery lives here. Oh, I don't need to go down there, do I? That's silly of me. Mop up the squeeze out. Mop up the bit that I didn't need to do in the first place. Wow, that's hot. And I will give that a minute to set, because I want to check that the battery moves around as it should. So I want to make sure it's properly set before I do that, or else it's not going to be a very realistic test. What I can do is see how the next part fits up on this side. And that immediately is much better than the other side. Much better. I wonder if it'd be better off the other way. Yeah, there we go. That's not so bad. I have to make sure I glue down to the front, though, which I didn't do with the last one. I might run a quick bead along there, as well as a bit of central support. I'm happy with that. Go at the front, smooth it out. Down this side. On this random bit of internal mounting. Can't remember which way I wanted it, but it's going this way now. Again, I do apologise that filming is taking a back seat here, but this is important to get right, so I'm going to get it right. Boom. Good enough. Try and clean up the hot glue on this other side while I'm here, because that's going to really get in the way the next time I try and glue it down. It's going to increase the thickness of the glue layer, which I don't really want. Right then, what went wrong on that side, I wonder? It felt pretty good. Okay, so that's more like 40 on the top on that side. And 55. That's fine, I can do 40 and 55. 40 and 55 is no big deal. It's genuinely easier. ruler go? Oh, I put it away. Not something I typically see coming. So overall it's 90. How wide was I going on this side? Where's the old piece? I was going 30, of course. Nice easy number to work with. Go. Match that up. Boom. And then the important part is the 40 to 50 part. There we go. Wow, I've dropped this ruler far too many times. It's getting really chewed up. That is sad. Oh, I need to extend that line across as well, don't I? Why have I just made that really thick? Because I'm an idiot. But it's fine. I will be much more careful when I actually dry fit it this time and make sure that it really does fit how I think it does. Because last time I was doing it by feel and it felt like it was conforming to the shape as it should. But very clearly it wasn't. Go. And there we go. Get out of there. Glue stick comes back out. Good foam board comes back out. How long have we been going on this one? Oh, you know what? It's nearly restart time. I'll get this glued down and then we will restart. For what should, in principle, be... Oh, hang on, that can't be right. Maybe it can be right. This should be the final part, but I'm now far less certain that it will be. So let's check whether this can really be correct. It might be that I just drew it wrong. That's 90. This is apparently 40 and 50. Call that 40 and then go down like that. Okay, it's 40 and 55. That was dumb of me, but it's okay. I've got a line there that I can just extend over and I'm confident that will be correct. Because it's the line I was working on before. So let's do that. I am definitely recording, that's good. Times like this that I wish I had the kind of Joe Brown / J. Kenji Lopez out head GoPro, where I would know that what I'm doing is visible to you. Okay, fine, don't cut the full thickness. Practice for the hingy bit later on. Oh, don't need to put that away just yet, because I still need to transfer this mark around. Do it that way, also do it this way for completeness. And join the two up. Yeah, checking that it kind of feels square as well, always helps. It's always worth when you're doing this kind of scoring thing. Just check that you threw the cardboard first, because that's where all the pressure goes into. The foam itself is very obliging. So if you're working hard to get through the card, you can easily end up going through all of the foam at once, which isn't really what we're going for. So that is so much better. I'm going to need to strip the glue that's already there, which is just getting in the way of a good seal. Or a pleasing join, you know. Don't want a big panel gap there. It looks like you've just not cared. Or I think it looks like you just don't care. Wish these power wires were a little more flexible, but it's fine. We will crush them in a way that hopefully doesn't prevent everything from working. This is, by the way, the last time I can get at the internals of this, so I guess I should quickly turn it on. Transmitter is on. Robot is on. Ooh, didn't expect that. Oh, it's because there's a bit of foam board there. Okay, we'll just test properly then. Oh, interesting that something I've had happening a lot on... Hang on, is it just because it's... Oh, it's just because it's lowering itself down. That's okay. I thought for a second that it was doing something that my other ants have done, which is twitch the motors when I fire the weapon. That's good. That's very good. That's actually... I tweaked the trim just accidentally, and it appears that it is able to go a little lower than I was sending it. Just want to check it's not making any... No, there's no unhappy noise. It's not fighting against the bodywork as it does it. Sweet, that's handy. I wonder if it self-writes. Remember, it's not supposed to. It's actively not meant to self-write. Phew! It's close, but it doesn't. Excellent. That's a sentence I've never said before. There we go. Excited for the final step. Peel off the paper. This is an emotional moment, you know, the last stage of the build that we've shared so lovingly. You know, I've felt supported by your presence, and I know you're as invested in this being a success as I am. Probably more so, since I'm not exactly behaving like someone who's invested in the success of this project at times. Right. Glue on the pad, glue on the poly, glue on the side, glue on the front, ignore the scary smoke, line up the part, get yourself burned. That's a much better fit than last time. Again, you can't see it, I apologise. Getting it right is more important than showing you. But yeah, that is a much better fit than last time. Haven't really got it onto the poly the way I'd like, but you know what? It's a worthwhile sacrifice for the join itself being in the right place. Boom! I do think I can pretty this robot up. I don't quite know how I'm going to do that yet, but I can definitely make it look nicer. Quickly fill in these gaps. Almost like silicon sealing something, but with hot glue. There we are. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but it is super effective by hot glue build standards. Well, I think for this, as a build video, I guess that is the end. I want to do a bit of testing, but I feel like that's kind of going to be its own thing. I don't know, maybe you said, but I think if I'm going to do testing, I need to do it with a not top-down camera view, because the top-down camera view is fantastic for building, but for testy stuff, maybe not. You know what? I'm going to do it for you. I'm just going to do it twice. Because I need to prove to myself that this thing isn't going to fall apart immediately. Get all of the hot glue cobweb out of the way first. So the question is how to test this, because I know it doesn't have any pushing power, but I do know that the weapon can work, so I guess I need to think of some things I can test the weapon on that definitely aren't going to break the weapon. Just looking around the shed. We know it can flip fill. That was a pretty sweet moment that I didn't fully expect. I would flip a bold one, but all the innards will just spill out, and that's not a good look. I mean, I guess if it can do fill, it can do a roll of tape if I prop that up, but... Robot testing is hard. Especially for a intentionally bad robot. Sorry, intentionally low power robot is probably a better way of saying it. Well, let's be fair, this lifter setup is on par with most Antweight lifters in terms of the power it has. The limiting factor is the grip. Because normally when you're lifting, you want to lift and drive forward at the same time, which this isn't as capable of doing. It also, because of the length of the arm, wants to flip itself forward at the same time. Right, let's just give it a bit of a playground and see what happens. I'm going to cheekily, I might do this as its own video separately to this, so don't tell anyone, but I'm going to do a battle box and prop this up a little bit. No one has to know. Shh, it's our little secret. Right. Transmitter on. Robot on. I am genuinely happy, by the way, just leaving the charging thing hanging out the back. I'll probably do a bit of tape, but I will, when I'm using it properly, do a bit of tape over here. But otherwise, it's fine as is. Right then, let's see what we can do. First of all, the scissors. Suplex! And finally, just to be kind to Phil, I'm going to move him back. Look at that! I am genuinely pleased with myself. This project, at this stage, you know, it hasn't gone into school yet and been tested in that way, but at this stage, I'm calling this a genuine success. Look at us go. Amazing. Don't know how to end this, but yay!